Hello, everyone. I know that this is probably one of the worst versions of TYTSports that you will ever see. Unfortunately, I may have broken the lights in the studio, so I had to finagle my own little way of doing this. And here you have it. A horrible echo behind me. I'm actually watching the Switzerland-Czech Republic game on replay right now on NBC Sports Network. Free plug for them, though they probably don't need it from me. Anyways, let's talk about the Americans kicking the Russians' ass today. So the Russians basically are viewing this Olympics, and Vladimir Putin as well, that like, you know what? If we don't win gold in hockey, the games don't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything to any of us. This is our thing. This is our one shining moment. This is what we have to do. Alava Shalom, Luther Vandross. The Americans not only beat the Russians, but TJ Oshie has now made a name for himself outside of just the hockey world and basically the world as a whole. I'm going to get into TJ Oshie in a little bit, but there was some controversy. So it went to overtime, and then it went to a shootout, and TJ Oshie killed it. But leading up to, Pavel Datsyuk had 2 goals. One of his fine Russian teammates basically put the Russians ahead on one of the worst, most bogus flaws in the rules that I personally have ever seen as an objective viewer of the game. Objective. So here's basically what happened. With about 5 minutes left, the Russians scored, but prior to, Jonathan Quick was moving from his right post to his left post, and he unfortunately, not intentionally, knocked the post off of its moorings. That, in turn, had the Russians scored in turn, but then they reviewed it, and they called it a no-goal. So I read USA Today, and I read a few other outlets, and the Russian crowd is irate at this call. They're irate. Not only do they trail the Americans in Group A, by the way, the Americans can basically get a bye in the quarterfinals if they beat, I believe, Slovenia tomorrow at 4:30 in the morning. Who's setting their DVRs? Whatever. So Jonathan Quick was a killer. Awesome. TJ Oshie was even better. I'll give some credit to Sergei Bobrovsky for absolutely denying Patrick Kane a few times. So good for him. So anyways, the shootout went 8 rounds. And the rules in Olympic play and European play, I believe European play, absolutely Olympics play, obviously, we saw it this morning, is that after the first 3 attempts, you can use the same shooter as many times as you want. Thus, they brought in TJ Oshie. Dan Bilesma kept calling his number, and he kept going out there. He even was quoted as saying later on when he was talking to the media, "I'm running out of moves. Like I don't. If this keeps going, I don't know what to do." So they went 8 innings, and TJ Oshie absolutely killed it. He took 4 of the 6 attempts. He scored. He took 6 of the 8 attempts. He scored on 4 of them. Awesome. And by the way, TJ Oshie, he went to, I believe, North Dakota. Moved to Minnesota to focus on hockey at a young age, dealt with his parents' divorce, and he's from Everett, Washington, a town of 104,000 people, 104,000 plus people. The Brain Trust, by the way, the reason that they brought TJ Oshie was on moments like this. So via USA Today, here's what they said. You know, at some point we are going to end up in a shootout, and we are going to want TJ Oshie. That they did, and that they succeeded. TJ Oshie, his Twitter followers have gone up at like 100,000, I believe, in not even a day. TJ Oshie. There's also a shirt that's out there that says, Oshie owns Sochi. Oh, I'm so going to get that. And if anyone wants to give it to me to wear on the show, hit me up. So, by the way, Ilya Kovalchuk missed 2 times in 4 chances. Pavel Datsyuk scored when it was 2-1, and Oshie had to score or it was over. He obviously did. David Backus was quoted as saying, "It kind of makes me chuckle when I see it," as in his moves, TJ Oshie's, their Blues teammates. "His hockey sense is off the charts, and he makes plays. Today, he got to do it in front of a lot of spectators here and back home." By the way, David Backus was fucking physical in this game, and I love seeing that sort of physical play because usually, you know, the Russians are a finesse team. They're a good team, like the Americans. But to see David Backus sort of throwing his body into Evgeny Malkin and Alex Ovechkin, and then even Malkin and Callahan getting into it. I mean, it was just a great hockey game, great, fantastic game. The Americans play tomorrow. They lead Group A. Again, if they win, they got a bye to the quarterfinals. Russia, by the way, they have 4 points opposed to the Americans 5. They play Slovakia, and they, by the way, once again, are expected to win gold. Slovenia, at least in the host country, and those people, 3 points. Their first ever Olympic win, by the way, was over Slovakia, so congratulations to them. And the Zdeno Charas, bottom of Group A with 0 points. Now, all of you chimed in on Twitter. Let's see those. Amrit Shergel says, hollow victory. The game winner being disallowed was a cop-out. I view Russia as the true winner of that game. Unfortunately, Group A does not reflect your same thoughts. Continuing along, who else do we got? S-Fan tweets at Wickstrom, had the game on record, no point now. Oh, I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to do that. Mark Colber just proves that TJ Oshie is one of the most underrated players in the league. Class act, and I'm glad he finally shined to the world. James Schneider tweets at Wickstrom, shootouts are a bullshit way to end a hockey game. Yeah, a friend of mine that I was talking to also said that it's a bullshit way to end the game, but you can't have the players be burnt out because you're going 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 overtimes if need be in order to decide a winner. I'm not saying that it'll go to 6 overtimes. I'm not saying that it'll go to 2. I'm not saying that it'll even last a whole entire overtime, but I'm just saying if that's obviously the hypothetical. You don't want to burn the players out when they have to play back-to-backs like this. Continuing along, who else do we got? Andrew Gurukin, tweets at Wickstrom, finally, something to cheer for that is really exciting. Dude, there's been so much exciting shit in the Olympics. You crazy? Who else do we got? JBD Games, tweets at Wickstrom, crazy performance by Oshie going 4 for 6 in a shootout on the biggest stage isn't easy, especially against a Vezina winner. Absolutely. And lastly, Evan F. tweets at Wickstrom, it could have been worse. I don't exactly know what you mean when you say that, but elaborate in the comments. All of you guys, how can you get involved? Chime in the comments section below. And also do me a favor, subscribe to TYT Sports. I'll see you guys soon.